What's up, guys? Thanks for coming back to my countdown to Endgame, counting down the MCU movies leading into Avengers Endgame. Today I'm talking about the next installment of the Avengers series, Avengers Age of Ultron. This is a movie that when I first saw it in theaters, I really liked it, but then over time as the MCU got better with their movies, this is a movie that kind of went lower and lower on my list, and I did my rankings. It wasn't anywhere near my top 10. And here I am rewatching all the movies again, and it kind of grew on me, and I like it more than I did a few months ago. Granted, this is a filler sequel. This movie doesn't really connect with the rest of the MCU in regards to the actual plot line. It deals with Ultron, though there is the backstory, the story that's kind of the foreshadowing to the future movies on the Infinity Stones. So the same cast is back from the last Avengers movie, along with Anthony Mackie and Don Cheadle. You have a few new faces as well. You have Paul Bettany as Vision, Scarlet Witch is played by Elizabeth Olsen, and you have Quicksilver played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, and the villain of this movie is Ultron, and that is voiced by actor James Spader. The movie's about 3 years later, after the events of the first Avengers movie, where we see the Avengers on a mission in Sokovia raiding a Hydra facility run by Wolfgang von Strucker. There he's experimenting on humans using the scepter from the first Avengers movie. Two of the humans that are being experimented on are the Maximoff twins, Wanda and Pietro, also Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. There, the Avengers eventually obtain the scepter, and Tony finds out that there's artificial intelligence inside this scepter, uses it to his advantage to create the Ultron Global Defense Program. There, that's when he creates Ultron. Ultron goes a little crazy, and he believes that humanity must be eradicated in order to save the Earth. As the movie goes on, Ultron just continues to wreak havoc as the Avengers try to stop him. And the movie's climactic moment goes right back to where it started in Sokovia, where Ultron is at the brink of causing human extinction. This movie, though, has a lot of pluses on its side. You got, as usual, special effects, visual effects, just the look of it. Everything as an MCU movie is done great on a technical scale, as they always do. The other thing I like about it is that this is a movie that we're familiar with most of the characters, and they add in a few more new faces, and it still doesn't seem overwhelming just because of how comfortable we are with the other people that we've seen in the previous movies. So with Vision, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and even a new villain, Ultron, you still get a feel of who these people are, and it makes it fun just to see all these different characters. And it's a good way of them to experiment in a way, because later on in Infinity War and in Endgame, we get pretty much double the amount of the characters. So it made it some way for them to work on this, almost like their prototype. And speaking of characters, watching this movie again and again, it reminded me of something in my childhood that I wanted to share with you guys. I know I usually have a fun fact for every one of these movies. For this one, it's more of a reminiscent fact of when I was younger. If any of you remember a video game called Captain America and the Avengers.
The Avengers!
You played as certain the Avengers, and you did fight Ultron eventually as one of the villains. And with this movie, this is the first time I've noticed that you see the four main people you can pick in the game, which is Captain America, Iron Man, Hawkeye, and Vision. I mean, not everyone's gonna be excited about this as much as I am, but if you know that video game growing up, that's something that's really cool to see. And seeing Vision, which was one of my favorite characters growing up, especially in that video game, it was just really cool to see those four together and fighting Ultron. In regards to this movie connecting to Endgame and Infinity War, I did say this movie feels like a filler, but the secondary story, the one in the background, is the Infinity Stone foreshadowing, and I did mention that Thor has a kind of a vision of the other stone, eventually telling the other Avengers that he thinks someone is moving everyone around like pawn pieces, manipulating it all in his favor.
The Mind Stone is the fourth of the Infinity Stones to show up in the last few years. It's not a coincidence. Someone has been playing an intricate game and has made pawns of us. Once all these pieces are in position...
Triple Yahtzee?
You think you could find out what's coming?
I do. Besides this one, there's nothing that can't be explained.
That man has no regard for lawn maintenance.
Which, of course, it is Thanos, and we do see Thanos in that post-credits scene.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
And that one line that he says is a pretty good indicator that he really has been manipulating everything and it has been working out, so he really is just going to do it himself. So this movie may not be a favorite for a lot of Marvel fans, but for me, over time, when I watch it again and again, I learn to appreciate it. Granted, it's not the best Avengers movie, and it's definitely not the best MCU movie, but it's worth a watch. Tell me in the comments below what you think of this movie. If it's your favorite Avengers movie. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My next video will be Ant-Man. I'm hoping to have that one and this one up at the same time. I hope you all have a good week. I'll see you at the movies.